The following Best of Central Florida program is sponsored in part by these fine sponsors.
Welcome to the Best of Central Florida. What a real estate market we are living in right now. Everyone wants to move to Florida. Welcome in, as always, my beautiful co-host, Makaila Nichols. Makaila, how are you?
Great.
We do another show called You Have Real Estate, same station. We talk about real estate all the time. I figured what a better time to do best real estate businesses in Central Florida. I'm so excited. What do you mean? Was it my idea?
But yeah.
It was your idea, but I'm taking credit for it, like normal. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to visit the best real estate businesses in all of Central Florida. We're even going to take a road trip together to visit some areas north of sort of downtown Orlando. Are you ready?
I am.
Here's what we're going to do, a very quick break. When we return, the best real estate businesses in all of Central Florida.
The Best of Central Florida, Makaila's Choice, is sponsored in part by these fine sponsors.
When it comes to listing your home, you have to trust the absolute best in the biz. This was a no-brainer, absolutely easy choice. Makaila's choice for best real estate business is my friend Julie Harder. She started the Harder team over at Coldwell Banker. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So you have the most beautiful accent. Tell me a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Clearly not a Florida native. Originally, I'm from England. I grew up actually in London, but was born in the north of England. And then back in 2004, we moved over here. So we actually moved down south because of my father's job at the time. But now we're here in Orlando, and now this is where I call home.
So what made you start, this real estate business?
Well, I initially got into real estate because I think I've always loved architecture. I mean, coming from Europe, there's so much history, like the buildings
so many pretty buildings
in history, yes. And I always was intrigued about the people that lived in the homes and, what happened in those homes and just the history going way back. And then back in 2018, my circumstances changed, life circumstances changed. I was a stay-at-home mum for 15 years, and then all of a sudden I became single mom, 3 kids, a dog, and not knowing what on earth to do. So, I looked at my kids and I thought, you know what, you've got to teach them a lesson too when times are tough. And I thought, you can't sit and cry over spilled milk. You've got to get up, get out in the world, and show them that, you still have to give your best every day no matter what. So they became my why, and that's how real estate was born for me, I think.
I love it. And you run a real estate team. So not only are you an awesome mom, but you run a whole team of people. How's that?
Well, that's actually a new thing. So I was actually a single agent up until, just very recently. I actually got married last year. There's a whole little bit
congrats.
there too. So my husband, Charles, and we actually started the team together. He has been in sales for 20 plus years, and he's an amazing man. He's brilliant at his job and fantastic with the operations of everything. So we decided, let's get together, let's form a team and go out and,
Take on the world.
Yes.
Talking about, taking on the world, what part of Central Florida do you cover?
Well, our office is actually in Dr. Phillips, which is Southwest Orlando. However, there's definitely a misconception behind, hiring realtors because people think, they have to be hyper local to that area to be able to hire that realtor, but not necessarily. It's important to have a hyper local agent if you are buying a home, for sure. But when it comes to listing a home, you want something a little bit more than that because you want someone that's going to, optimize the property value and everything. And I think it's important to have somebody who is going to present your house beautifully and market it brilliantly. And that's
where you come in.
Yes.
And how do you do that?
So there's lots of ways we do that. There's simple ways. There's sometimes I go into a home and it's just simple things like, clearing off the countertop and decluttering and depersonalizing. You know, when buyers come in a house, they want to see a home that's, you know, they can envision themselves in. And if they go in a house and there's pictures of your whole family, you know, whilst that's sentimental to you, it's kind of, it's like, let's take them down and let them have a blank canvas. So something simple like that we can do. And then sometimes we go, you know, a step further, we repaint, or in some homes they need new flooring, or sometimes that popcorn ceiling just has to go. So there's lots of things which we do to make the home better, show ready, and that in itself brings in more buyers and therefore more money.
Well, I know if I ever list my home, I know exactly who I'm going to do it with.
Well,
Julie.
and I would love to help you for sure. Absolutely.
Well, keep up the great work. Julie
Thank you
Harder,
so much.
founder of the Harder team, and we'll be right back with People's Choice after this short break.
The Best of Central Florida, People's Choice, is sponsored in part by these fine sponsors.
You have spoken, the people have spoken of People's Choice, and what a great choice they have made. People's Choice for Best Real Estate Business goes to our wonderful friends here at Ocala Realty World. I'm joined by Alicia Lopez. Hello, Alicia. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing?
You know, in my other job, I'm around a lot of real estate agents, real estate brokerages. This place is just different. What makes you guys so special? Everything. There's a different energy when I walk in here. I just feel a great energy. It feels special here.
So, in my almost 24 years of being in this amazing industry, I have learned that it's the people that matter. And I genuinely just love people. I love our agents, our people. And I think when your agents and the community, buyers, sellers, you know, everyone around you, that they know that that's the truth, that your heart's really in it and you really do want everyone to succeed around you. I mean, it's just natural. You can't help but feel it.
Yeah, this place is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it radiates when you walk through the door, just your energy. Everyone's so welcoming, friendly, but it's like the big city, but in Ocala, which is awesome.
Yeah. Now, there's been
quick.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
There's been a big migration nationally of people moving to Florida, but within Florida, it feels like there's a migration north. People from South Florida, people from Orlando moving north to beautiful Ocala. How often are you seeing that?
On the daily.
Really?
I would say the stats are every 1 to 2 buyers that are purchasing here in Marion County are coming from South Florida and Central Florida, the Orlando, Tampa area. So it's pretty awesome. We're excited to welcome everybody here and to call it home.
We're excited to welcome you on our other show. You have real estate next week as well. But how do the prices compare? And we'll address it next week also, but how do prices compare? Like same exact house in Orlando versus in Ocala?
So depending on the section in Marion County, it's almost half
Really?
the price. Absolutely, yes. So it might be a third less in some parts, but typically it's almost half. So that's a huge part of what's bringing everybody over here. More home, like that, more bang for your buck, more home for your money, but more land.
Right.
You know, there's very few neighborhoods in Marion County with 0 lot line. You know, the typical is a 1/4 of an acre.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you're coming from Orlando, Tampa, South Florida, that, you know, you could reach out and touch someone from your bathroom window. Like, we remember those. We used to live down there, so we know.
Of course.
We don't have that here. So you do get your little piece of privacy and your little piece of heaven.
Yeah, and speaking of piece of heaven, I mean, Ocala, obviously beautiful. Marion County in general, a beautiful place to live. For someone who is looking for a more quiet, simple life, how would you describe Ocala and Marion County to them?
I would say that there's just something in the air here. You know, my husband and I, we moved here 18 years ago from South Florida, and like if we think about it, we're like, how in the world did we end up here?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many buyers tell us the exact same thing. What happened to us was we just were like, we need to move here, and we did, like, no rhyme or reason. And it's home and we love it, and time after time, sometimes on I-75, somebody just stops in, it's usually like the Cracker Barrel or something, and they're like, what's this place? Do a little exploring, and next thing you know, they're moving here, and it happens over and over. But I think it's that central location. You know, you've got the beach in either direction, less than an hour.
Right.
You've got Gainesville, Tampa, Orlando, all within an hour, hour and 20 minutes at the most. I mean, why not, right?
When I think about Ocala Realty World, there are some brokerages out there that literally just care about the number of agents to hang their license at that particular shop. You are not like that here. You are really dedicated to the success of your agents. How do you do that? How do you make sure your agents are successful?
So my husband and I, we call it teaching from the top, and that's the, aside from that whole energy thing, and you get us. So my husband's going to be 30 years in the business, and I'll be 24 years this October. He's taught me everything that I know, and then we've taken what he taught, like what his previous broker many moons ago taught him, that he taught me, and then we pass that on to our agents. So they're getting the exact way that they're supposed to learn real estate, which is unheard of, because like you said, that, you know, revolving door in a sense, and just take whoever, and we're just a company and a brokerage all about positive energy, not sales, because the sales will come natural if everybody's happy.
Speaking of agents, you have a couple agents we're going to talk to here in a minute. So let's do this. Let's take a little break now. I want to talk to a couple of your agents here about exactly what's going on here at Ocala Realty World.
Awesome.
Speaking of great agents, Nina is here as well. Nina, what a beautiful part of the world we are here in Ocala, Marion County, but new construction here also booming. Tell me about the new construction here.
So new construction is awesome. It is like the best alternative for the buyers in this market. Not only you get a brand new home with the warranties, but you don't need to worry about that roof or the AC being old or anything like that. In addition to that, most of the buyers, and they enjoy the great benefits and incentives that the builders are offering, you know, buying down your interest rate, covering most of the closing costs. So all that makes it so much easier for them to qualify.
Keep up the good work. And by the way, if you're buying new construction, you want to hire a great agent, it costs you nothing at all.
That's right.
Another wonderful agent joined by Jenny. Hi, Jenny. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Ocala, Marion County. Why move here?
Well, Ocala is beautiful. First of all, there's hills. If you love nature, you'll love Ocala. There's the springs. There's the Ocala National Forest. We have Santos Trail. If you're into riding bicycle, you got to check out Santos Trail. I love anything having to do with being outdoors and nature, and that's my favorite part of Ocala. But then there's also like the charm, you know, that southern charm. You're close to Disney, you're close to Universal Studios, you're still close to, the beaches are not that far away, but you have that, you know, Busch Gardens. I have kids, so that's very important to us. We go to SeaWorld, we go to Busch Gardens, we go to Disney, and we're still very close.
Right here in the middle of the state. I love Ocala. I love Ocala Realty World. Jenny, how are you? Good to see you.
Good, how are you?
Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world. How would you describe this area for horse lovers?
Oh, it's a horse lover's dream. We have the World Equestrian Center, miles and miles of trails. There's places you can take horses swimming. There's just so much to do with them.
Got it. And people who love horses are moving here as well, are they not?
They are. They want the acreage. They want to be close to the Equestrian Center, the Florida Horse Park. They want to be able to roam around and not be in a small little box.
Thank you, Jenny, so much.
You're welcome.
Good to see you.
You too.
The best of Central Florida, Justin's Choice, is sponsored in part by these fine sponsors.
And today, Justin's Choice, my favorite part of the program, of course, for Best Real Estate Business, Best in Real Estate, goes to our wonderful friend, Fernanda Negromante. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Thank you. Well, good to see you too.
A lot of real estate agents and brokers out there, but not many with the accolades that you have. Now, let me just read them off, if I may. Orlando Real Producers Broker of the Year.
Yes.
That's a pretty prestigious award.
That was like intense, I would say.
It's definitely a good one. Aura, you got an award from Aura too, the Orlando
Yes,
Regional Realtor Association. What was that?
We every year they do the top agents of Orlando. So this year I was nominated on a Diamond, which is the brokers, the agents that produce more than $25 million in real estate in a year. Yeah. So we're like top 25.
Casual.
You've been around a while now. You've seen the ebbs and flows of real estate, which I think is important when you're going to be a great agent, a great broker. Started in 2008, right?
2008. So I pretty much started when everybody was getting out.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very grateful for that because I've been through all. I've been through slow, busy season to pretty much I can take everything, Yes.
No matter what the season, though, I've read your testimonials, I've read your reviews from clients that you've worked with, all absolutely glowing. How do you keep your clients so happy?
So right now, like our main approach is to have more like a boutique style. And we want to make sure that every client that we talk to, we identify their needs, and we really try to go above and beyond. Not just I'm not looking just for transaction. It's more about creating like a relationship with our clients. Like most of our business today are or referral business over repetitive business, and for me that says a lot.
That's huge, and I think it's probably your real full service approach to dealing with your clients, your customers. How do you remain so hands-on?
So we have an amazing team. When you start producing when you start having that kind of volume, like one person alone cannot do it at all. So I have a great team from a transaction coordinator that will help me make sure that we're matching our deadlines. We're on the street doing the home inspections and just make sure that everything falls into place and that can make a smooth transaction to our clients.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you talk to people. Some of them they're like, I had a horrible experience buying a house but I blame a lot sometimes on the agent because I feel like we're there to make it easy for them, and take some of those punches and not pass on to our clients. So having a great team does help a lot.
Someone at home right now thinking about buying or selling, how would you describe this market currently? Buyer's market, seller's market, in the middle?
I think right now in the middle because we had the buyer's market, the seller's market, which was crazy. I personally, I hate it because, I felt it was so unfair for my buyers to just go in on inspections, both asking. Then interest rate went up and they're like, all the sellers got crazy, But it is what it is. I mean, people still need to buy a home, right? And you can't really be caught up, is interest rate gonna go down? I mean, now I think that this is the new norm, and you just have to go with the flow.
Marry the home, you date the rate. Isn't that right?
Oh, you have to do what works for you. Make sure that you can afford, that you're not gonna be in a position that it's gonna, hurt your life. So it's everything together.
Well, I'm hearing rave reviews from the entire real estate community about you, Fernanda. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Do yourself a favor if you're buying or selling a house anywhere in Central Florida. Nova Real Estate, what a fantastic job they are doing. Special bonus segment for you. Allow me to explain why. We have a lot of people moving to Florida right now. Yes, we're talking about real estate, but where do you work if you've moved here? Or if you're an employer, who do you hire? Who do you trust to hire? Now, Makaila, you and I may have hired this next company for real very recently. They did a great job for us.
Oh, they did the best job ever.
I'm joined by Trova. Tim Lesnick is here. How are you, Tim? Good to see you.
Doing well.
What do you do with Trova exactly?
So we're a recruitment firm. Our firm specializes in placing people in positions, either contract, full-time, part-time, depending on what a customer situation is. They can either hire from us and become your employee on your payroll, or we can keep them on our payroll, which we call a consultant, or the old school term might be headhunting for the full-time placement, or staffing for when they're our employee and stay on our payroll before you guys take them on as your own.
I've owned my own business for 18 years now, and I had never hired a company like you to staff. I just hadn't. I don't know why I have not, but what a pleasurable experience it was working for you. And the candidates that you brought to us are all absolutely fantastic. How do you do such a great job at this?
You know, I think biggest thing is my partner and I, we've been doing it for over 20 years. We have 2 decades in the business each, and then the rest of our team is also very tenured, right? And so for 17 years in the Florida market, we're right here in Winter Park, but we have a national reach. You know, I say this to my clients, between the 4 main people that have started and are part of Trova, you know, we have over 70,000 first level contacts through our different social media and LinkedIn's and such. So, like with your guys' experience, I sent 5 people that we knew from our network, and a couple of the people that you hired I had met 12, 13 years ago, right? And so the conventional recruiting activity of an internal search firm or some of the more, larger firms might be to go on Indeed and post ads, which some of that stuff does work at the same time. But I think our specialty is the breadth and depth of relationships over many years. And I literally can say that some of these people are actual friends or people that I know intimately. And that's why the hire works out, because if you hire a stranger off the street, they can just disappear. And they're like, hey, it didn't work out necessarily here. But if they say no when we've been through the process, there might be 6 people that I know. And I might say, hey, Janet didn't work out. And then I'm like, why didn't she work out? And I could call 6 or 7 other people that had been involved in the process. And she doesn't burn that many bridges. I think it's kind of a unique value proposition that once you're involved in the community and really know these people, there's a confidence in delivering that to a customer.
A lot of business owners watching at home, but a lot of business owners have been on this show as well who have always just done the LinkedIn or Indeed, done it themselves, and they're frustrated because it has been a challenging time the last couple of years. Is there a size of business that is too big or too small for you to work with?
No, we do from startup to, to Fortune 100. I have some of the biggest consulting firms in the world that actually use us and then turn us over and use for their customers, right? So we're actually even subcontract in those situations where they're hiring from us and then putting them out for customers. And then I had a customer that was a one-man shop who hired 12 people from me to do different projects. 6 of them were consultants, 6 of them were full-time people, and that was the basis of his business. He never wanted to have full-time employees of his own. I should say too that we're specialized in the professional services industry. So we do everything from, say, reception or an administrative hire all the way up to the CEO. So technology, IT focused folks are our biggest brand. Probably half of what we do are IT, because that tends to be the hardest for a lot of people to understand, hardest to evaluate. And then we do accounting and finance, handle operations, sales and marketing, like we worked with you guys on. And I always tell folks, if you're not sure, we're still a good place to go. I can give advice. My biggest thing is to invest in the customer, help them consult on where they're going. It's not a transactional relationship, right? That's the key difference.
I would recommend you to anyone. Like I told you in an email the other night, I would recommend you to Tim. Great to see you. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
We will call them every time, right?
Every time. They're the best.
It was absolutely amazing. And the show, amazing. You did a great job as always
Thanks,
today.
you did
Mikaila.
okay.
Did you learn a lot about real estate? Or
I did.
What did you learn?
I learned that some houses are pretty.
That's right. Some houses are pretty. Thank you to our WKMG-based crew. Most importantly, thank you for joining us this weekend. See you again next weekend for more Best of Central Florida.
The preceding Best of Central Florida program was sponsored in part by these fine sponsors.